Don't adjust your sets or your glasses. That is a gas station that is selling gas at $1.29 a liter. And that is a number that is bringing people to this small town that needs the traffic. Little America, they call it, a place where time stood still during the pandemic. Crippled by a closed border, and today is pumping with new life.
Yep, gas, packages, and beer.
Kelly Bravener manages the Speedway gas station in Point Roberts.
I lost about 98% of my business here.
One of the many station owners in the 5 square miles of U.S. territory tucked under the 49th parallel, who say the global oil crisis has fueled revenue, with Point Roberts prices sold by the liter still roughly 50 cents a gallon cheaper than on the other side of the border.
I've had a huge upswing in business. I'm usually pretty steady.
Cheryl Lum made a special trip from Ladner, B.C.
Because it's cheaper, I'm retired, and I have lots of time.
Just because it's a lot cheaper than getting gas in BC.
As did Manuel Lee from Richmond.
On a tank for like our car, we save about probably like $30, $40 per tank, so it's kind of worth it for us.
I've always said I'm the only person in Western Washington that roots for high gas prices. When the price of gas goes up, Canadians come down in mass. That stuff brings the boys to the yard.
Allie Hayton says the trend helps, at least temporarily, increase traffic to the exclave with its unique set of circumstances.
It doesn't help us with getting contractors here. We have a lot of work. It's been 2 years since we've been able to put time and money into the building.
The truckers aren't coming across. Concrete, the trades, electricians.
Andy Leaf is a customer and construction worker.
Just because of the testing requirement?
Yeah, because of the testing requirement.
Do you think it's that big of a thing for just getting contract work?
Yeah, I do.
It is why longtime resident Brian Calder is still pessimistic about the immediate economic future.
The daylight isn't there at the end of the tunnel. It's a candle and the wind's still blowing.
But after 2 long years, finally, here, a bit of a break. Even on a bad weather day, for Point Roberts, there is no rain on this parade. And there has been an exemption for people in Point Roberts going to and from across the border. That testing exemption, a little bit different than what we've seen at the rest of the 49th parallel. There has been a testing requirement to come up and over and then back down to Point Roberts. That's going away at the end of the month with the announcement by the Canadians today. So there is some hope that that is one of the final hurdles to get back to normal here in Point Roberts, Washington. That's the story here live. I'm Chris Daniels. Let's send it back to you, Joyce.
So, Chris, explain to us how the math makes sense for people to drive down from British Columbia for gas there.
Yeah, this is where we go back to grade school, Joyce, and start talking about liters versus gallons. You look at that $1.29 a liter. It's about $1.91 a liter just across the border in Tsawwassen and Ladner. You factor in the exchange rate, and that is where we get to that 50 cents per gallon mark. And there is a cottage industry here in Point Roberts as well, those parcel post offices. So the Canadians are coming down to get their packages, their cheap packages that they've got through those mail order services like Amazon, and then filling up their gas tanks. And they believe, a lot of Canadians do, that that makes economic sense.